I'm going to put my headset down. And whatever happens after that.
That's what I hear.
Okay, look, the next game is on. So I'm gonna go grab water for you guys. Liam, he's gonna hop in the hot seat.
Yeah, get Liam in here. You're done. You're cooked. Get me
out of here. Get out of here. You guys are gonna get to watch quite the match.
Jonathan Williams is on the colors. He's on the colors. We might do this.
Oh
folks.
my god.
I might get.
All right. Let me get out of here.
I might get my prediction. Help yourself, sir. Yes. Liam, my friend. My goodness, in the back there doing some research. Liam, look at my man here. Liam, please tell the folks who you are, which I can't imagine that they don't know you, but please let them know who you are.
I'm here. My name is Liam Cosma. My wife and I run the Illumineers YouTube channel and all social media and a bunch of stuff. We do Lorcana content. We love Lorcana. Really? And occasionally I do some commentary as well, and I love it. And I'm excited to be here with you and with all of you watching. Yeah. I run myself with the camera. Right all of you watching. This is exciting. This is so exciting.
It is so cool.
I mean, new set, new meta at Southside Gaming, one of the best places to play competitive Lorcana in these types of events with some amazing commentators.
Thank you. What
an amazing weekend.
I know. I'm stoked. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad Aaron's here. It was wonderful seeing you all this morning, and we are going to have a great time as we get to watch Zach Bivens on colors that I don't think anybody's ever seen him on before. And as you can tell by looking at the kind of chart up there next to his name, those colors are amber and emerald. Boy, oh boy, are we in for some crazy, crazy stuff here.
I mean, this is going to be a fantastic matchup. I mean, you all talked about these players already, but Jonathan Williams, a player who's known for very specific colors, very consistent, brilliant deck builder. He's always testing. If you follow his Patreon, kind of he's always cooking and dreaming stuff up, but generally settles kind of on the same build because he's convinced it's the best. And also, by the way, always finishes second here every single time.
We love Jonathan Williams for that. Dragon John Z. That's first in my heart, but second at SSG. That's the tagline.
Dragon John Z rhymes with consistency, and that's what he is. He is consistent. And on the other hand, you have Zach Bivens, who another very consistent player, but consistently different in terms of his deck builds. Always crafting new things, bringing in new toys, going different directions. And you all hit the nail on the head before. He's bringing in some interesting stuff this set. So.
Yeah. I mean, you as we understand now, with the triple deck constructed format, there's a lot of things that you have to consider. Is this the deck he's considering? Who knows? However, he still needs to know these matchups. He needs to consider these things because he's got to put together just like the power trinity of decks in order to survive that world's format.
That's true. Here it is. This is the card you all were joking about. This is Aladdin from set 1. It is a 2/2 with Ward here in Emerald. You don't see that played too often.
No, you don't.
Ever.
I can't imagine why not. It's a 2/2. It quests for 1, but it has Ward. That Ward is powerful, as we've started to learn as this set is kind of starting to reveal itself. Not being able to target it, not being able to choose it is kind of a big deal here.
Yeah, so this card is in here for a very specific purpose, and that is to stick on the board. And one of the ways that Zach is going to try to win this game, there is a certain card, I think, in Amber Emerald, which he probably has in his build that he's working towards. And so getting cards to stick, here's another warded card, for example. So getting this card to stick on turn 2 is very important, and he's working towards his game plan. The problem, I think, for him is this might be a bad matchup for him.
Yeah, he probably wasn't hoping for this, and I'll be just to be very frank with you, having seen the numbers, Ruby Sapphire isn't here in huge droves. It's not the first, it's not the second most represented deck here. So Zach was playing to the meta, the expected meta. He wasn't wrong about that. He just unfortunately is we use the word unlucky, I guess, in that pairing. But yeah.
But his alternate game plan here, if he can't line up a particular card, I don't want to spoil it for folks, but a particular card, which some people in the chat, of course, Ed Chu, their North American Continental Champion, has identified. If he's not lining up that card, his alternate win condition here is to force discard, and it gets to control deck. That's what he's trying to do, is whittle down Jonathan's hand and put him into top deck mode. So Bare Necessities is one way to start to do that. And here's another way.
You have forgotten me.
And you may have forgotten about this card, because this is another set 1 card. making an appearance here again in Zach's deck. So on his second game plan here, be able to force Jonathan down a few more cards, and that's what he needs to do to win this game, is put Jonathan into top deck mode as soon as possible.
Yeah, and with the removal of Hiram, that is not difficult to do to get Jonathan Williams down to just lower hand counts where these discard cards are just so high value, just so impactful. Not difficult to do. Jonathan Williams' primary puzzle that he needs to solve is, how do I keep cards in my hand?
Mm-hmm.
And right now we're playing Scrooges, so let's see what that means for him. It looks like a whiff. It looks like we did not get an item. Oh my goodness! All right, but we do have characters on the board, and these characters they're a higher strength than what Zach probably wants to see from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jonathan desperately trying to get, his game plan here obviously wants to take it to the end game. Inevitability is usually with the Ruby deck because of that control, but needs to get to 7 or 8 ink, because the reality is in this matchup, there is a good chance eventually he's forced into top deck mode, and he needs to be able to play his board wipe if he top decks it. And it's going to get harder and harder, especially, here's Zach's getting so much value out of these discards with those Prince Johns on the board, but that's what he needs to do, is get to 7 ink to play your top deck. There's nothing worse than in the late game, drawing your Be Prepared at the perfect moment and having 6 ink, and you're like,
well, here we are. I found myself in this spot many a times, unfortunately, so I can relate, and boy oh boy, it hurts every single time as we see the enchanted Maui hero to all hit the table and deal with one of those 2 Prince Johns. Just devastating. That Maui, just such a powerhouse, as we see just so many cards in Zach's hand. Zach's hand is so large. Jonathan is rocking about 5 cards, so not a small number himself.
Now, you can definitely play Be Prepared if you top deck it, JDZ Quest. That's the point. Is you need to get to the situation where you can play those board wipes when you draw them, and that's the thing. And that's the way you're out of this in this. But the other problem is with Prince Johns. We saw this version of this deck can build such card advantage. We saw Zansid on a green steel version of this in Las Vegas with like a quarter of his deck, or no, like half of his deck in hand in the finals. And that's
just insanity.
Yeah,
complete insanity.
That's one of the problems when you're running Diablo, when you're running Prince John, and you can get all those extra cards. Even if Jonathan manages to wipe the board, then Zach potentially is just dumping his whole hand next turn. So it is a challenge for sure.
And we're seeing people pointing out Louis here. Reckless Louis he came and went.
He was around for a moment. Comes into play Exerted, making him an easy target for people to clean up pretty quickly. But another great card in this meta. One of the things it's in here for, it can sing a little bit, but it's very, very well statted, and it's made to counter some of these aggro decks. So very good against Daisy or other cards going to move fast. It can force Cinderellas and things to run into him. So great card. I talked to Zach before this, and he's really high on this card.
Oh, I can imagine. As we see Cricky hits the table, Cricky, such a great card. Just allowing so much ability to control the board with characters that generally are lower on the strength kind of spectrum there. So that really does bridge the gap there. As we see now, Jonathan Williams, no characters on the table.
No, that's true. But what are we at? Are we at 6 now? Yeah, this 1, 2. I can't math.
1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like 6. Yeah, 4 tap.
So
2
again,
two
we're
available.
We're a tough spot again because you draw into that answer, and you can't play it. So. That's the game plan for him. If this deck can get to that point where they can utilize their board wipes, you can come back from this. But it's rough. Hand pressure.
Yeah,
it's the removal, as you pointed out earlier. It's the removal of the Hirams.
Correct.
Honestly, that makes this really hard.
Yeah, and we see Jonathan Williams' answers to that though. We see the workshop on the table. Workshop designed to kind of facilitate that draw. Like we've seen through the last set and just going into this set, what a powerhouse that workshop can be. Just netting so much draw, in many cases even more so than Hiram has done for previous iterations of this deck.
And now we have, I think, 8. So I can't see up top because I think we put 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom. So I think we have 8 on the table. So now we do have Sisu available. We do have the Be Prepared. This is the situation, not that you want to be in, but if you're going to be top decking, at least you can play your answers if you draw into them. But Zach pushing his lore all the way to 16. The top deck is not how far I'll go. We will probably be going into game 2 here shortly.
A quick scoop.
And just not drawing into that answer. So rough go there for Jonathan. And it's just the hand pressure that Emerald can put you under.
There's that. The other thing to consider here is it's still really early in the tournament, and tournaments the longer they go, the more likely the player knows what you're on. So there's a really, really good shot. Jonathan had not seen Zach's deck out there. And I mean, I wouldn't put. Would you put Zach Bivens on Amber Emerald? Is that a color combination you'd expect him to pull out today?
Probably not, but I never know what Zach's going to play. I mean, it's like 50% amethyst steel and then 50% something else. And you have no idea what is in that bucket.
Yeah, I'll say like Steel X. Like I'm willing to put you on anything Steel X with Zach. So the fact that he's not playing Steel, I'm excited. I love seeing these, and I love players that have the ability to just take any color combination and be serviceable, be very, very good with it. It's going to be critical going into Worlds that you're able to be that way. You're punished in triple deck construction format being a kind of what we call a one trick pony, or somebody who's known for a certain kind of deck. Because if you're going against that person, that's the easiest target. Like you're not playing that deck, dude. DKP, I don't care. You're not playing Ruby Sapphire.
Yeah, it's a fantastic point, especially in this matchup, because again, sometimes you do get to be a little predictable, and Jonathan Williams is a player who's very much known for these colors. So if you're in the blind against Jonathan Williams, most likely you're planning on playing some form of this control deck.
Yeah.
And the reason that matters in this matchup is for Zach, we talked about Under the Sea a bit, and there is a line in this deck which is trying to get Under the Sea out as soon as possible, and it's made to counter the aggro. And so Zach can alter his hand one of a few different directions. One of them is very, very strong towards that Under the Sea play early. And in the blind in this meta, perhaps that's his ideal alter, is what he's going for, hedging his bets and trying to play against an uber fast Churnadogs deck coming out now, dumping a bajillion characters by turn 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But knowing that Jonathan Williams is a control player, now he says, okay, instead of going that route, I'm gonna hedge a different way and play against the control. So it's an interesting point talking about what people are known for, what they're not known for, because in the blind, it can affect how your opponents treat you.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it. Like you think about what makes a good player. Oftentimes we think about these moments sitting at this table, but there's a bigger picture there. There's what happens at the table, absolutely, obviously. There's what you do when you're building your deck and what pieces you put in there. And then there's a third component that I think we really undervalue, and that is understanding the meta, like understanding what is out there, what is likely to be out there, what are your opponents likely to be on. The player that does all three the best wins the tournament, period.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's the game before the game, as I like to call it. Yeah. Understanding the meta, building, and coming in prepared.
Absolutely. Yep.
So it is a new meta, but it's the same turn 1 for these Ruby Sapphire decks. Turn 1 popsicle. Get that item on the board, draw a card. So
the more things change, the more things stay the same.
That's true. That is true. It's a delicious opening there. All right, Enchanted Maui into the Inkwell, followed by turn 2 Tipo. So this is the opening that Jonathan wants.
Yeah.
One of the things though, one interesting note against these discard decks, Tipo and some other ramp cards that force you to send an extra card out of your hand against a discard hurts just a little bit.
It does, and we have a hit. We have a
do,
hit.
and the hand pressure starts already.
Yeah.
And here we have another ramp card, which will force another card out of the hand. So, it's good to ramp. It's good to try to get there, but losing cards out of your hand against discard smarts just a little bit.
It does. You've got to be very smart, very strategic about how you opt to ramp. There is a world where sometimes it's better not to try to reserve whatever cards you can, save answers if there is one. In this case, we see Jonathan Williams just deciding to go ahead and ink that Sail the Azurite Sea, which. Mm-hmm. Why put pressure on your own hand? Zach's doing a darn good job of that all by himself.
Yeah, so we'll see which way this goes. But yeah, it's again wanting the big thing to look at here is keep an eye on Jonathan's Inkwell. He wants to get to a certain ink. We're gonna hit that combo there. Prince John coming down, singing Sudden Chill, forcing a discard, drawing a card for Zach, and it is starting here. This is gonna be a tough road to climb. We need the right top decks. Drawing into uninkables does not help us at all.
No, it does not.
With the hand. So, and I think, Scrooge. Maui comes down. Maui's going to clean up that Ursula. All right. Get a big body on the board. That's going to prevent some singing shenanigans without repercussions.
But Zach, with just so many cards in hand, we see that you have forgotten me just to finish the job here.
Yep, here it comes.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Wait.
Okay,
no.
Okay. All right. We have opted to play. It looks like I believe it's one of the Gators. Nope, it's Chip. Oh, Chip.
That's right.
Yes.
I had to look. So the foil it's Chip Quick Thinker.
Yes.
It's a way to chip away at your opponent's hand. I've been waiting for that card. Forces a discard when it's played. Fun little card there. Establishes some board presence and plays into this discard strategy.
Yeah. It seems to fill the spot that like the Daisy Duck, the Amber Daisy Duck kind of filled. You've got a great character, which by the way, love Chippendale, one of my favorite franchises. Love Chippendale. But that's beside the point. But it feeds into what Prince John wants to do. It gets us more cards, and Zach just still so much pressure, so many cards, all the options, all the play lines available, deciding on which one is the best one, which one's the optimal one. And Zach says, we're going to look at more cards. We're going to look at the top card. We're going to look at the top 4 cards. We're going to find some songs. We're going to figure this out.
Yeah, just you hit the nail on the head. There's so many resources available. So Jonathan here, I mean, managed to draw this out a bit. He's got a 6 ink in the inkwell. We're 1 away. We've got a decent board state. So, a little bit of breathing room here. But let's see what Zach chooses to.
Let's see. Zach's debating, doing the math. Yep, we're going to see that hand one more time.
And there they are.
And there they
take a
are.
look at your hands.
Spirit
Show
fingers,
me your
everybody.
hands.
And
and
when
there
you
they
have
are.
no cards in hand, the proper response is spirit fingers every time.
All right. Will we draw an inkable? We draw.
We draw a Tipo. Yeah, we see a Tipo.
Yep.
And Jonathan Williams, the look on his face says it all. He's like, great.
Yep.
Not the top deck I wanted.
I suspect this will go straight into the inkwell.
Yeah, deciding on putting a little bit of lore pressure on, not a lot. Inking the Tipo, yep. And then making sure that he can start to do things when he top decks them.
It's not the worst. I mean, there's I mean, you'd love to get how far I'll go. There's plenty of other things you like to draw, but there's worse draws in that scenario.
100%, yes. And this does basically start to open up the play lines for Jonathan. Being without a hand isn't the worst thing in the world for a Ruby Sapphire player, because if there's anybody that you do not want to enter into a top deck battle with, it is a Ruby Sapphire. Now, Zach Bivens has got the answers. Jonathan Williams has to rely on the top deck. The problem is you need ink to play the things that are coming off the top of your deck. That's the problem. As we see Painting the Roses Red come down, which, there it is. There you go. Under the Sea takes out the entire board, including that Maui. That is absolute insanity because of that Kita, by the way, for those of you that missed it, that Kita does drop the strength of those characters, and that additional -1 is what pushed that Maui over the edge.
Dear, and Under the Sea sending everything to the under Jonathan's deck.
Yes.
We have a how far I'll go here, so we'll take a look at a couple cards. Got to think carefully about this. You don't want to leave anything in your hand for Zach to discard. So Sisu will come down, ping that Diablo, get rid of that.
Really the only option.
The only option. But it's better than nothing.
There you go.
We'll have another card in the inkwell there that does make the Sisu available next turn if we top deck it. Here we go. It's back to the hand. Pick a card at random when there's only one.
Yeah.
Random's pretty easy. Heads to the discard pile that will draw Zach another card, and here we are questing for 5, 6.
Yeah, certainly. That is the number as we see Jonathan Williams doing the counting out the ink. Zach thinking through, do I ink this? Do I not ink this? Doing the math. Am I going to be where I need to be in about 2 or 3 turns to get to that 20 lore?
Yeah, and Zach sitting bare necessity is not going to do a whole lot of good when your opponent has an open hand. Dropping another Diablo on the board. We'll take a look, show the hands. Hands are empty, and
Spirit fingers one more time.
Spirit fingers won't even show them this time. Drawing into another Tipo. That hurts. You need to draw into one of your removal answers here, because Zach's hand is a little empty at this point. So
this is just mean.
It's back. It's discard, draw a card.
Poor Tipo.
And here's we need that answer. I mean, again, not completely done. Zach's whittled his hand down. He's only a couple left here. We do that Under the Sea, but if you can draw into a Sisu, if you can draw into, and we have a Scrooge, that's not going to do it. We'll take a look, but that is,
but that's not it. Yeah.
Not going to help.
Yeah, this is the end. It looks this is going to be another draw, but at this point we're depleting our ink.
We're looking to see how close the board wipe is at this point.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Where is that board wipe? And Zach takes this in short order, just crushing Jonathan with discard pressure. And look, there nope, not coming.
It wasn't there. And but that was a quick game, a quick match 2-0 for Zach. Of course, this was just a rough matchup for Jonathan Williams. Not what and interestingly, Zach, didn't want to see this deck, given the fact that he's really designed to deal with aggro really, really early, which is what he expected to see. However, I think an interesting point here is that while he was probably not wanting to, and the deck decisions was relying on the fact that there wouldn't be a lot of Ruby Sapphire, it deals with Ruby Sapphire very effectively because of the ability to discard, a thing that Ruby Sapphire does not like. You want to upset a Ruby Sapphire player, start plucking away their resources. That's what you do. Guess what Zach Bivens did? He knew the mission. He went in, he did what needed to be done.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And to be fair, discard decks have always been a decent way to beat the heavy control decks. But these control players, they plan around that. Green Steel has been popular for so long that these control players know how to play against them. And the way you do it is generally what Jonathan did. But the challenge is, against these discard players, you have to draw into your removal at the right time.
Yeah.
You cannot have that be prepared sitting in your hand because it's going to get picked by Ursula on turn 6 or turn 5, right before you're able to play it. But the way the math works out, though, when you do like the hypergeometric math and whatever, if you are altering away from those removal options and you are drawing a certain number of cards with how far I'll go, etc., your odds of drawing into like the Sisu or the Be Prepared on time are actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
And so that's generally the game plan is, you're probably going to be forced into top deck mode. So get as much in your inkwell as possible. Don't give Prince John any extra value before you drop your 7th or 8th ink. And then you are trying to draw into that reset. And then from there, it's off to the races.
Absolutely. Yeah. The reset is critical. The longer that the pieces stay on the board, the Prince Johns, the Muses, whatever the singers, the longer they stay on, the more value they get, the rougher it is for Ruby Sapphire. So tough break for Jonathan Williams. I did predict that he would be second place today.
It's a solid prediction.
He was upset with me when I saw just a little behind the scenes. Me and Skinner were doing our podcast, and before we did our podcast, I'm like, wait, I don't want to make a prediction about somebody who might not be there. So I shot him a message. I said, Jonathan, are you going to be there? And he's like, yes. I said, good, because I'm about to make a prediction. And he was like, it better be that I'm winning. And I'm like, ... send. And then I ran. I said, ... send. And then he's like, Gabe, you got to answer the question. And I just ignored him. I left him on red. Yeah. And now he knows why. So no, but I kid. Jonathan Williams is such a good sport, such a fantastic player, a great person. He was a good sport about it. And I saw him out there and he looked at me. He gave me like this knowing look of like, I knew you were going to do that, but at the same time, I'm not mad at you. So he's such a good dude.
Yeah. Wonderful presence at the tournaments. And with that, it looks like we have an interview. I'm going over to Aaron and Zach.
You forgot somebody.
Mommy has one and Mr. Zach has one.
I know, Lena.
The star.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the SSG tournament. I am here with the incredible Zach Bivens, who just took that entire round in, I think, 20 minutes flat, Zach.
It was very fast.
How does your first SSG... Actually, let me start with this. We have finally entered the meta in which Worlds is going to take place. You've been waiting for this meta for like 5 months. How does it feel now that it's actually here?
Feels great. I'm excited to test it. That's why I'm playing the deck I'm playing today, just trying to test random stuff, test all these different decks, because I got to bring 3 different decks to Worlds. So
yeah, well, I got to chat with you a little bit this morning. You were a little nervous about how this deck was going to perform today, and you've done incredibly well in these first 2 rounds. Is this kind of changing your feelings about this deck a little bit?
I don't expect too much from this deck today now, but so far so good. So not really, but we'll see how it goes.
What was making you most nervous about this deck coming in today?
It's very slow, and the low end of the deck, like with the colors, there's really no good low end you can play. If you miss your Diablo, you're doing nothing on turn 1. If you miss Ursula, like you're doing nothing on turn 2. So like after turns 1 and 2, you might be doing nothing. So
you say it's incredibly slow, but you just won that round in 20 minutes.
That's true. That's true. The deck is slow. I play fast.
So, you are one of the newest members of Team SSG.
Yes.
How is it feeling being a part of this family and this South Florida community?
That's exactly what it is. It's a family. It's been amazing. Really grateful for them. So it's been awesome.
So today we have an amazing field. We have a ton of great players out there. What decks are making you most nervous? What decks do you feel now that you've kind of got a couple rounds under your belt? What are you feeling good about?
I think Amethyst Emerald was probably my hardest matchup. And then some of the more aggressive decks, they can absolutely beat me. Just like I said, if I'm just not drawing anything in the early game, they might just run me over. So really anything fast, it's probably biggest concern there.
And why did you settle on? I mean, I know you want to test out a bunch of decks in the coming months, or in the coming month. What made you settle on Amber Emerald for this weekend?
I think it's sneakily good. People aren't really paying much attention to it because it's basically a set 4 list. I have a couple new cards, but honestly, most of the deck is from set 4 and before.
And you have a couple of very, very old cards in there that we
I
haven't
have
seen.
a set 1 Aladdin that has never been played in a competitive setting.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like, why?
Because the low end is so bad. I need my 2-drop to sing songs. I needed to sing Sudden Chill, Bare Necessities, and be able to be there to be able to sing Under the Sea if I needed to. You have Ursula, the green one, which is really amazing, but then there's no other options. Like I was playing the Ursula, the yellow one that's in Still Song. I was playing that because it's Singer 4, so it can help sing Under the Sea, but it just gets removed. So the ward on Aladdin is the whole reason I'm playing him, for that keyword.
Do you have a question for Mr. Zach? No, you just want the microphone. So I know you, I'm going to completely switch gears here. I'm like bouncing all over the place. I know you have a little one as well at home. You told me your family's going to get to go to Worlds with you. What are you excited about for that experience? Obviously, outside of just getting to play for the World Championship.
So obviously that, but it's my 3-year-old daughter's first time at Disney World. So yeah, that'll be really exciting. She loves all the characters, so it'll be awesome.
That'll be such a special experience. Well, very. I am so excited to watch how you perform the rest of today and to see what you show up with in this next month after all of this testing. Thank you so much for taking time to chat with us today.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, little one.
Say thank you, Mr. Zach. Thanks, everybody. Back to the casting team.
And yeah, we were just talking all the experts, and then I went to Disney and saw
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse, yeah,
he was there.
And
we love him.
Man, that was the most brilliant story. There was such good analysis. Man, that was. I wish people could have heard it. It was so good.
You missed out. Yeah, folks missed out. So hey, that game ended pretty quick.
Yep.
So we're gonna be talking for a little bit. Skinner will be back in a moment.